Hello, here we are again back in my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a chimichurri sauce. And the reason why I'm going to be making this because I'm preparing recipes, getting ready for the Lady Pitmaster grill off in Orange Beach, Alabama, coming up in a month or so. And one of the things I'm toying with is using a chimichurri sauce with some protein. Not sure where this is going, so this is just a practice. Today I'm actually going to be using some lamb lollipops. In addition, I'm going to be marinating these lamb lollipops with a garlic, rosemary, olive oil type mixture, and then grilling them, then later on using the chimichurri sauce as a base for when I plate it. Now, the thing about my chimichurri sauce, which is going to be a little bit different, is because I'm using it on lamb, I'm going to be using mint, fresh mint, parsley, and a lot of other different ingredients. So stay with me and let's get this chimichurri sauce going. The ingredients for this mint parsley chimichurri sauce include garlic, and I'm using store-bought minced garlic, and the reason for that is they were limited to about a 1 hour and 50-minute window to get this prepared and then to turn-ins at the end of a 2-hour period. And if I were to take whole cloves and there at the competition try to chop them off, that digs into the time I could be using to do something else in the preparation of my protein. Anyway, this is about 1.5 teaspoons of minced garlic. I have red wine vinegar, and actually what it is red wine with a little bit of white distilled vinegar to make red wine vinegar. I happen to not have any in my pantry, but I'll guarantee you that for the competition I'll have it already bottled, a red wine vinegar. I have some red pepper flakes, and this is approximately 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I've got salt, that's about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Black pepper, it's about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Oregano, this is dried oregano, and that's about 1/2 teaspoon. I have some rosemary, and this was actually fresh rosemary that I minced up and chopped, and that's approximately 1/4 teaspoon. I've got 6 tablespoons of good olive oil. Then I have my fresh mint, and just approximately about 1 cup of fresh mint, even though it's in a container, which is more than 1 cup. The parsley, I'm going to be using fresh parsley, and this is probably about 2 cups of fresh parsley. And we're going to add those all together and get our chimichurri mix going. I'm going to be taking some lamb lollipops, and I'm going to marinate them for a little while in some garlic, parsley, and olive oil. The olive oil is going to be infused with the garlic and the rosemary. Then I'm going to take that and put it over the chops, the lamb lollipops, and let those sit for at least a 1/2 hour. These are going to be cooked again at the World Food Championships grill off for Lady Pitmasters, sponsored by Cowboy Charcoal. And this is potentially the choice of what I'm going to be making. I'm playing around with these recipes right now, so it may not be exact, trying to make sure that I can get a good combination of ingredients to present a lot of flavor to my dish. I'm going to mix the rosemary, and that's approximately a 4-inch sprig of rosemary that I just cut in little pieces of it to make it real fine. And I'm going to mix that in the olive oil along with the garlic. And this is probably going to have to set for at least a good minimum 10-15 minutes to get any flavor in there. As I mentioned before, this is going to be done in a grill off kind of test, so I don't have a lot of time, hours or whatever, to make this infuse well. So I just have to give some big pops to this olive oil with the amounts of garlic and rosemary that I put in. The amount of garlic is approximately 2 to 3 cloves, and I use the store-bought minced garlic, the equivalent of that. So we'll let that set for a while, and we'll come back and we will take our lollipops and marinate them. This is my olive oil mixture with rosemary and garlic. I don't want to blend this in a blender because I don't want it to become like an emulsion or make it where the pieces are too small to separate from the olive oil. I just want the olive oil itself to be infused with the flavors. That way when I go to grill it, I don't have to worry about the garlic or the rosemary burning on the grill because I'm going to be searing these mainly. As an alternative to doing that, I'm just going to sort of pound around in the mixture, and hopefully that'll bruise it enough for it to release more and more of its flavors and textures to the olive oil. And just an FYI, everybody, I'm just practicing. I've never done this before. I've never seen anybody do it like this. It just seemed like a thing to do. And that's what we do here in Sylvie's kitchen. We just see what we got and do it. To make the chimichurri sauce, I've been playing around with a couple of different ways of doing it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to first add all of my smaller ingredients, and I have them in my little small mixer here. And I'm using this small one because at the event that I'm going to be cooking this, I cannot have any large appliances that are going to draw a lot of electricity. We're limited to a certain amount of electricity that we can do. So I'm adding all the ingredients, all of my garlic, my oregano, my red pepper flakes, rosemary. I've got the salt, pepper, my red wine vinegar alternative, and I'm going to first put in my mint leaves. And this is going to be a series of blend, push down, because all of it may not fit, and I know that it's not going to go through the bullet exactly. So we'll put all of this parsley in, and this is curly leaf parsley. You could use Italian parsley. I could have used something like cilantro instead of the mint. But as I mentioned before, because I'm going to be cooking potentially a lamb dish, I decided it's best to go with something that goes much better with lamb, and that would be the mint. So let's see what we get. But it looks like I need a little bit more wet ingredient in there, so I'm going to go on and put in my 6 tablespoons of olive oil. Let's see if I can get that going. We're finally getting this pulverized. There's still a few twigs of the parsley in there, and I'm going to have this go around a little bit more, get some more of that out of there. I think we're good. That is our mint parsley chimichurri. Let me get a taste to make sure. That's good. Very good. Now I'm going to put this in a bowl, put it to the side, and wait for our lamb presentation. I'll show you that in a bit. Here are my lamb lollipops, and they've already been Frenched, and I just cleaned off the bone. And what I'm going to do next, before I marinate them, is I'm going to take the bones, I'm going to take a piece of foil, wrap around the bones. That way, while I'm grilling them, they don't burn. That's just a real quick wrap. Just a little bit of foil, wrap around. I'll finish doing these and we'll be right back. Here are my lamb lollipops. They have all of their bones wrapped to protect him while I grill them, so they'll stay more of a clear color and no burnt parts of it. These lamb chops were purchased already cut into a lollipop form from an online internet meat company. And they're varying sizes, and some of the bones aren't the same size or the same length. So I think that one of the things this is telling me is that it's probably best for me to buy a whole rack where the bones on at least those racks are all the same length and about the same width, came from the same lamb. And I would have a better appearance, I think. I've tested these before flavor-wise, and they taste very good. They're very tender. The only thing that I question is the uniformity of each of the chops. Anyway, moving on from there, I've got my garlic, rosemary infused olive oil, and I'm now going to marinate each of these chops. This marinade has been going for about 30-35 minutes, so hopefully I got some good flavor in olive oil. When I tasted it, it tasted rosemary garlicky, so we'll see if the lamb can take that. So here we go. It's just a matter of getting that olive oil over each of these chops. And I'm going to try to avoid having the garlic in there because I don't want it to burn. And I see a couple of pieces already, and I'll remove those later on. Turn them over. And when we turn them over, we're going to do the same thing to this side. Now this is a very tasty recipe if you like garlic, if you like rosemary. And when it's grilled, all those flavors do come through. My hubby is a real lover of garlic. There's never too much of it for him. We have a couple of invited guests coming over for dinner tonight, and so I'm going to get their perspective also on how they feel these are going to taste. Okay, I'm going to now put these back in the refrigerator and at least another 10-15 minutes, because as I mentioned before, I have an hour and 50 minutes to cook this presentation. That hour and 50 minutes includes cleaning off the bones, adding the foil, making all the marinades, and all. So it's a matter of go boom, 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 real quick succession to get this accomplished. We'll be back when we're ready to grill. Okay, it's time to put on the lollipops. They go down on the grill.
Is it unusually good looking man, or how would you rate him? It's like Minnesota. put $800 into stuff like that. Well, okay, now let's go. What am I just to do? Take this stuff like
That's 2 minutes. Let's see if they're ready to lift. If they're lifted, then we know that they're okay. Then we're going to do another 2 minutes. Let's salt this side. In case any of you are wondering, I chose to salt it after putting it on the grill because I didn't want the salt to draw out a lot of water, to keep these as moist as possible. Grilled back lamb off the grill. We're going to let them rest for a couple minutes and then we're going to go and plate them. Best to clean the grill right after you use it. That way you don't have all those bits and particles stuck on there.